and I like to sing alto, so we would sing together. And we had por- a porch swing. Everybody back then had a swing on their porch, one of those wide ones. And we'd sit out there on that swing and sing and sing.
And that one ended up in Red Oak too, right?
Huh?
That swing ended up on our back porch
That's right.
in Red Oak.
And who has it now?
Wanda had it for a while. I
No.
think she sold it.
I don't know what happened to it.
Oh, I know. They were trying to keep it going in the family, weren't they?
I think Wanda also had the picnic table that we had on the back porch.
Oh yeah.
But we got the rooster, the copper rooster. It's in France.
Oh, you did.
It's on our kitchen just like it was in Red Oak.
Yeah, I remember it in your kitchen there.
The story about that rooster. See, at one time we had a pretty good group of girls that had an art class and in the courthouse down in Fairburn. Well, through the years, different ones left, moved, or died, or whatever. It ended up that 3 of us left in the class. So we went. They gave us a room up in Union City at a community center. They let us have this room just for us 3 to have a drawing. We didn't have a teacher. We'd just get together and draw what we want, draw together. And so that's where that rooster came from. One of the girls, I can't remember her name right now, but she started drawing a rooster because one of her friends wanted her to draw a rooster. Well, she started drawing that rooster. And every week, I think it was a Tuesday we'd meet, every Tuesday she would draw some more on that rooster. And it must have lasted months. And I got so tired of looking at her rooster. So one day I just got some paper down and I drew her rooster. Finished it up, looked just like hers.
And finished it for her. Right?
And that's your rooster now.
Well, we have
That's the story of your rooster.
We have the copper rooster.
Oh.
Copper.
Oh, you have the copper one. Oh, this is a picture.
Yeah. So tell me about the copper one.
Well, I was in a class when I did that. They gave us the copper, and I think we could do anything we wanted to, and I just decided to do a rooster.
That was before you got tired of roosters, huh?
Yeah.
Was this in high school or after high school?
Yeah, that was early in my artistic class.
You did the rooster in high school? The copper rooster?
Yeah, I was in high school then.
Because I have Wanda has a horse that you did. Maybe Karen has the horse.
She has what?
The horse.
Oh.
And copper?
No, ceramic.
Terracotta, ceramic.
I had a pig. I got a pig over there somewhere.
Yeah, that's over there.
We still have that.
Yeah,
We have a horse
I used to keep that on my fridge.
lives downstairs.
Yeah, and Karen has this
So that's
dish
I'm gonna
that looks
look
like a
that
steak.
if I keep eating.
There's something else too that Karen had. Karen has this, looks like an ashtray. This is a dish that looks like a steak. It's
Oh, yeah.
the shape of a steak. And a couple of other pieces of ceramic, enamel ceramic.
Well, the copper. We really like that copper rooster. I remember wanting it when telling you that I wanted that someday.
Yeah.
When it was in your house.
I remember that.
Yeah. And now we have it, and then the rooster is a symbol of France too. So here we have it. He's in France, where he's a symbol.
Well, I'm glad it found a nice home.
It did. Looks very good in there.
We have some artwork too that was in VS.
Have what?
That we have some of your oils also.
Oh, you do?
They were in
In
VS before we put it on the market, and now we have them in X.
We have the daffodils.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In a jug or a jar or something.
Yeah.
Pitcher.
Yeah.
And Daddy could draw.
I didn't do
Hey.
that.
In fact, just Kurt can draw too.
Oh, he does. He
Yeah.
used to draw all the covers for my piano recitals.
Is that right?
Yeah, Christmas things. Then the spring he drew daylilies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very
And
pretty.
Wanda, of course, Wanda can draw, and
And Karen.
in fact,
yeah.
Wanda gets. Karen and Wanda both get paid for their art. They have jobs. Like Wanda's painting my mural around the nursery of her friend. A friend has a
cool.
nursery,
I
and
didn't
she
know
got her
that.
to paint a mural around. So about little lambs, I think.
Hmm.
All kind of little lambs.
She teaches classes too.
The name of the place is
Karen.
Little Lambs, and she made them all white except one, and she made a little black one. She showed me pictures of it.
Cute.
Yeah. And grandmother, I guess we got that from that talent from grandmother's side of the family, because I think I've told you before, all she ever painted that I saw, she would buy a frame with no picture in it, just a frame with a glass, and she would turn it upside down and paint a rose, red roses all around with the leaves and everything, and in the middle she'd write your name real fancy. And that's all she ever did. She'd write everybody's name,
How pretty.
and she made one for everybody.
It was a plate,
Red roses, all,
Frame with glass.
like every one of them.
so you could put whatever you wanted in the frame.
And I used to have one, but I don't know what's happened to it though.
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing it.
Yeah. And I don't know whether y'all know, but Papa had a big scar. You remember that?
Yes.
He had a scar all back right there around his head. Well, they had a big cabinet back in those days. They had a china cabinet, which it was tall. It was almost to the ceiling, and they kept the china, most of it down in the bottom part, and they had cups that would hang, you know.
Yeah.
Well, and it was a corner. It was built into a corner. And so Papa was opening the door one time, and I think he stepped up to reach something, and that cabinet fell on him.
Oh my.
And it hit his head right at one of the edges, hit his head, and that's what happened. And so grandmother was right there that minute, you know, she said, and she hollered, "Get the horses and the buggy." That she had horse and buggy back in those days. And they had to go hook them all up to the carriage. And they did it right then too, because she was the boss.
Yeah.
And so she held his head down, like she held the hair down, the skin down like that, and held him in her. He was just a little boy, and she carried him she had to go to Danville. They didn't have a doctor in Gretna back in those days. She had to go all the way to Danville, which is pretty good ways, especially with a horse and buggy.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was holding his head like that all that
Oh
time.
my goodness.
I've heard her told about it. But he made it. They sewed it up.
Yeah. Wow.
You still see the little stitches.
Mm-hmm.
But his hair comes down over it.
Yeah.
You don't see it. You don't notice it. It was high enough up. That didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So a cabinet fell on it? Was it like an armoire?
Oh, what?
Was it a big, tall cabinet?
Yeah.
China cabinet.
China cabinet. It was
A corner cabinet.
full of.
I think what they do now is they nail those to the wall.
Yeah.
They nail them.
Yeah. IKEA had a big scandal about that because some of the IKEA
Yeah.
cabinets fell on children and they had.
And when Karen put that picture up that I painted years ago, I said, "Now, Karen, I'm sleeping right under this picture. You're going to put it up there really good, or it's going to fall on my neck."
Oh no.
I mean, she put a lot of nails in it. And she got it nailed to the wall. And Daddy used to have that picture in his office.
Mm.
That's tissue paper, right?
Yeah, tissue paper painting.
Did he do that painting, or did you do it, or you both did it?
Yeah, you just tear a little. I just got the color of tissue paper. You can get all colors back in those. I guess you still can. And I just tear a petal, just tear it up with my fingers, and then just hold it down. I had half water and half glue, and I'd put my brush down in that half water and half glue and paint it on there, and then I'd stick that down on top. That's how I did that. I learned how to do that in a class somewhere.
I don't know why I thought Daddy did that. Did Daddy do a big yellow daylily?
A what?
A big yellow daylily?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that with a tissue?
I think Daddy just drew that with a paintbrush. He could draw. He just didn't do it much. So y'all got it from both sides of the family.
Yeah, I like to illustrate a paragraph. Like if I'm
Yeah.
trying to say something, I can illustrate it with a diagram.
And Ben is working with his, he gets paid for his art too. And Kay and Elizabeth, I think they do, what do? They do something with scissors.
Oh.
They cut out pieces of color paper.
Yeah. They work for some company. Of course, Patty was an
Oh.
artist too.
Oh yeah. We got murals all over their town.
And Monty could draw.
Yeah, I remember Monty drew a picture of something that happened in France on my birthday. That's when they
About what?
about the French Revolution.
Oh.
When he built the pendulum for this story called The Pit and the Pendulum, he built a pit. He built a
Yeah.
pendulum with a blade on it that would lower down and used as a guillotine.
Oh.
And he drew a picture of the scene from the eyes of the guy who's about to lose his head.
Oh boy.
And so as a crowd, they were all going, "Arr!" And you could see that there was this guillotine above him,
Oh.
but you couldn't see him because it was the view from his eyes, right before his head tumbled into the basket.
Monty drew that one up there, that big, right there with the white background.
Monty did?
Yeah, it's a world, people of the world cooperating together. You got a lot of memories in here.
Yeah, that's a family picture. You're in that one and that one too. Two family pictures right there.
Yeah.
That's Jessica's wedding. It
Yeah.
was going to be on the beach, and
I remember they had to
hurricane
change
came
it and change it and change it.
And the boys in the wedding did not have shoes.
yeah, and I had on sandals, barefoot sandals, kind of like you're saying,
Yeah.
and no hose.
Yeah. I remember when we flew out, I think our flight.
Yeah, we
was
were
the
going out
last
on the
one.
beach
Yeah.
What?
Yes, right.
and have the wedding on the sand, on the beach.
Until the hurricane
And
came.
the hurricane made everybody evacuate.
Yeah, that was that year of many hurricanes.
Yeah, we've had some funny things happen. It always turned out good though.
Hmm
They got married anyway.
Yes. Happily so.
They wouldn't let a thing like a hurricane stop a wedding.
We had to fly home, and we of course, had to make our flight early, go the flight early because the airport was closing.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the Orlando airport and everything inside, all the desks were covered with blue tarps
Oh.
because they were ready for the rain to come through the roof. I guess it did too.